Welcome back to the All Things Sports Podcast, your number one sports podcast. In a week where the Seattle Seahawks made it a game in Dallas, the Colts survive an overtime thriller in Tennessee, and the Patriots, well, they're still patrioting. ATS is back to give you the real in sports. As usual, as always, I'm joined by Mr. Heat and Five himself, live from the city of New York. June, how you doing?
Everything's good, man. Chilling. It's a warm winter day. I can't complain.
There it is. There it is. Let's get right into it because we had some good football today, and I'm gonna get right into it with your Colts, man. Like I just mentioned, survived the overtime winner in Tennessee. Apparently, you can't spell Nashville without two L's, is what the post said on the Colts IG page. I want to ask you a question about something that you said on Twitter. After the performance that Gardner Minshew put up today, man, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, you said he is not exciting to cheer for anymore, to root for anymore. Where did that come from?
Man, shout out to Gardner Minshew. I'll say this. Look, he's got my support at the end of the day. He's my quarterback. He's the guy that, that's leading this team and this offense. You just let his stats out right there. He had that might be career numbers. He had a career high in the first half. And all credit due to him. However, man, like he just makes some plays sometimes throughout the game that you just question, like, what went through his head? You know what I mean? When he makes certain throws, why did he do that? Decisions, and it's at the point where sometimes you just can't defend it. So, again, he is my quarterback. He is the starting quarterback for the Colts for the time being until Anthony Richardson comes back from injury. So I'm gonna be there and supporting him and wishing him the best and hoping that he has as much success as he can. But it's stressful. It's stressful because he gets like nervous and he gets like twitchy and he starts making these bad decisions, and some throws you just, again, like I said, you can't defend. It's nothing more than that, bro. So I'm just imagining what this team would look like with Anthony Richardson out there. We're in a playoff spot. You know what I'm saying? Pittsburgh lost. Houston won. We got the one up on Houston. You just mentioned it. 2 L's in Nashville for the 2 L's that we delivered to those Titans. I mean, if we could just kind of go into the Colts game, what a game, because I mean, it started off slow. It was one of those games where, all right, this is a division battle. They're getting off to a quicker start than we are. Derrick Henry had about 80 something yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. And the Colts defense has been going off on these slow starts week in and week out, but able to close things off at the second half. And it's not concerning because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's tough to stop an NFL offense, right, and be consistent in that regard week in and week out. And for how we've been able to do it, you got to give credit to the defense being led by Zaire Franklin, leading the league in tackles, and guys like EJ Speed. The thing about the Colts defense, though, that you have to give a lot of credit is that we're doing so much on defense and we're making up for the mistakes that Gardner Minshew makes and like predicaments that the offense puts us in. So our red zone, we couldn't get a touchdown to save our lives in the red zone. And so just to fast forward, when we were 25-25 in overtime and Alec Pierce caught that bomb, set us up at the 5, I was nervous because I'm like, it's only 2 minutes left in this game. If we kick a field goal here and can't get in the end zone, which we haven't been able to do all game, what are we going to tie with this team? So I wasn't sure that we were going to be able to punch it in. It was a great play call, great play design, great execution by the quarterback and wide receiver 1 who is on a contract year. Mike Pierce understands. Michael Pittman understands that it's his job to bring, success to this offense. We are going behind him, especially with Jonathan Taylor being out today and for the next, 2 to 4 weeks. Zach Moss couldn't get it going, and that's okay. We've got a true number 1 wide receiver. He had over 9 catches. I think he had a 10-catch, 11-catch day for 105 yards and a touchdown. So it's just a lot of credit, man. And this team is super well coached. And I think that conversation that we were having 2 weeks ago with Coach of the Year and candidates, and D'Amico Ryans being right there, he's still up there. But man, if Shane Steichen hasn't, you know what I'm saying, climbed up in those ranks with wins to both uh, Tennessee and Jacksonville, Tennessee and Houston, and sweeping Tennessee, we've got Jacksonville coming up on the schedule in a few weeks, and I'll be excited to
Need that.
go into Jacksonville and get that first win since 2014. So shout out to the
Definitely
Colts,
need
man.
that.
We win, you lose.
Again, can't spell two L's without Nashville, or Nashville without
Hmm.
two L's, other way around. Derrick Henry left the game with an injury. He did manage to scrum up 100 yards. It's only his third 100-yard game. Kind of alarming. A little bit of a hot take. I don't know what contract year he's in, but
So
he might not be a Titan for too much longer.
my thing is, I was surprised we let Henry beat us, and I guess good luck to us because he got hurt and, like you said, wasn't able to return in that game. And Tajay Spears had a career day, but career day was like 67 yards was his career high for the season. And no shade, I'm just saying he didn't go and put up an amazing night against us. But my point is that if Derrick Henry is in this game for the end of the fourth and the overtime period, who's to say, where things would have went? However, that's not how it went. And I just wish that Gus Bradley would have made Will Levis beat us, and not let this run game go crazy. We got to sell on that run in Tennessee and let a rookie quarterback, make a mistake if he's going to do that. So, but hey, a win is a win. You don't complain about how you do
Absolutely.
it. You just work on things to get better for next week, and it's going to be an interesting closeout to the season, man. It's really going to be a fun closeout to the regular season. I told you the quarterbacks that we have on schedule. I think we got. Is it Cincinnati next? Let me double check. Yeah, we got the Bengals next,
Hmm.
and we know their quarterback situation. Mitch Trubisky had to come in relief of Kenny Pickett today, who hurt his ankle in the Cardinals game, which them Steelers, boy. Hey, look, I know I got that Pittsburgh hat on. Let me take this. I need a haircut. This is really why I'm wearing a hat. I'm
We
sorry
both do.
for,
This is the
you know what I'm
haircut
saying?
episode
Yeah,
right here.
we're in the trenches right now. It's about these sports. It ain't about nothing else. We give you the real in sports, and we're not here to worry about how we look. All right. The presentation don't gotta be there, but the facts will be. Um, and the facts are that we're playing a bad quarterback versus the Bengals. We're playing a bad quarterback versus the Steelers. We're going to be playing a bad quarterback versus the Falcons. We're going to be playing a bad quarterback versus the Raiders. And then we finish out the season January 7th against the best quarterback in the world, CJ Stroud. So that'll be fun, which we already beat on the road. So we'll be able to play him at home and hopefully get another win. However, we'll get back to where we were.
Yeah, man.
Colts.
Listen, Will Levis sacked 6 times today, and like you said, a win is a win. And I'm gonna quote Shane Steichen after the game. It's awesome to see our guys fight every single week and just keep finding ways to win. And you might start slow, but when that clock hits 0, 0, 0, 0, if you're up, and the dub is yours, right? As they say.
Yeah.
Hey, you just mentioned CJ Stroud, best quarterback in the world, which I smirked that. This next guy we're about to talk about, I think, would have something to say about that. Mr. Brock Purdy, 19 for 27 today, 314 yards, four of them tutties in Philadelphia, beating
Let's
the
get to
Eagles
that.
to its yeah, beating the Eagles to a tune of 42-19. Credit to Jalen Hurts, did his job, just wasn't, good enough, as they say. 26 of 45, 298, and one touchdown, which I believe was the running touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. Are the San Francisco the team to beat in the NFC now, June?
Well, I would say so. As of right now, the thing about this Eagles team is that we've seen them far too much get down in games, right? Where they're putting themselves in a dangerous place. Um, they're putting themselves in a dangerous place, you know, in a sense that, by the way, Jalen Hurts did have a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. He had
Okay,
a passing touchdown to Devontae
correct,
Smith.
correct.
But the Eagles put themselves in a place where like they have to just crawl out of this adversity in the second half, and they have the talent to do so. They have the quarterback to do so, but doing that against really good teams, one of the best teams in the league, really elite defense, 49ers, you're not going to be able to climb up out of that hole. And the 49ers aren't a team that let up in the second half, or, like they're going to just let you come back and make it a game. I mean, this is the same 49ers team that beat the Cowboys earlier this season, 42-10 at home. And now they come on the road and they beat Philadelphia 42-19. We knew this was going to be, and this is part of a tough gauntlet stretch of the season for the Eagles, in which they got a few tough matchups here. Next week, they got to take on the Cowboys on the road. So that's not going to be fun. And then they get the Seahawks, right? So 3 NFC conference games, back to back versus playoff contending teams. And this next game coming up, before we stop talking about this 49ers game, this next game coming up for the Eagles has a lot of division winning implications, because they did beat the Cowboys early in the year, but the Cowboys are sitting at 9-3 and they have a chance to tie for first. And
dare I
at that
say,
point,
MVP implications as well.
Yeah. And
dare I say it.
And so, yeah, I think it is the team to beat in San Francisco. They play with a lot of heart. We see that when they're at full strength. Not a lot of guys can keep up. Not a lot of guys can keep up. And you did mention Brock Purdy. I'm glad you brought attention to his name, because, 4 touchdowns versus that Eagles defense.
Come on, man.
We're not going to act like they're the best defense in the league. But what was really also impressive to me was 140 rushing yards for that 49ers team. And, this Eagles defense has the best run defense in the league. We know that. So for them to not be able to come out and run the ball effectively versus the 49ers as a good running team, and then in turn get dominated on that side of the field as well, it just says a lot about who the 49ers are. I don't think it's so much about, can the Eagles keep up, and the Eagles aren't good enough. The Eagles are sitting at what, 10-2 right now? 10-2, I think. So let's pump the brakes.
5-1 at home, 10-2 overall.
Yeah, like whoever, is looking at this loss for the Eagles, like, yeah, man, they can't. No, they're sitting at 10-2 right now, and any team in the league would wish they're in the position that the Eagles have put themselves in. But tonight they got punched in the mouth. They weren't able to respond, and Brock Purdy went over for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And again, you run for 140 yards on the Eagles team, I think you have a really good chance to win that game, especially when you're being held to under 50 yards and Jalen Hurts is your leading rusher. Come on, DeAndre Swift, 6 for 13. Longest carry, 4 yards. Got to be better than that, bro.
I want to bring highlight to that boy Deebo Samuels too, man, because he was doing what needed to get done, especially that 12-yard rushing touchdown in the third quarter and a 48-yard touchdown pass from Purdy that extended that 14-6 halftime lead to 28-13, and that was all she wrote, as they say. They just kept laying the hammer down. Pause. Yeah, right. Pause. Listen, let's talk about the Dolphins, man, because we like to throw shade at the Dolphins, but they just keep performing. Good team, bad team. I think I'm gonna just
keep bullying the bad teams, man. You see it. You see it. They Goliath.
Oh
they are Goliath, boy, versus the bad team. I swear to God.
45-15. I talked about the Commanders and their coaching situation and how bad Eric Bieniemy looks over there right now, and Ron Rivera just. I don't even know if he knows what coaching is anymore, but this boy Tyreek Hill, man, I miss this man in Kansas City. 5 receptions, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. It just takes the edge off when your offense is on the field, because you just know Tyreek is down there somewhere and he'll probably come up with the catch. Miami outgained Washington to a tune of 406 yards to 245 total yards. Tua Tagovailoa, woo, 18 for 24, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sam Howell, once again, just about 50% completion, 12 for 23, 127 yards. And of course, a turnover with this 4-9 Washington team.
Yeah.
What'd you see in this game? What'd you like? What'd you not like? Have your thoughts changed as far as they keep beat? Obviously not, because we just mentioned it. They keep beating up on bad teams. Is just they are beating up on teams? Should we take away the bad team part, or what do you think about this?
So yeah, I don't think we should take away. I don't think we should take away the bad team part. I do want to cut into this and just break some news here. We got a 14-3 Packers lead over the Chiefs. Jordan Love finds Christian Watson in the end zone. I believe his maybe second touchdown on the season. But give a lot of credit. Everybody picked the Chiefs to win this game. So you know what happens when they pick, the same team. Typically the other team, underdog, goes on to win. However, still early. Jordan Love is playing really good, and I wanted to bring light to that because I did think this Packers team going into the Sunday Night Football game had a chance to compete, and not just compete, but beat that Chiefs team. With all that being said, I still think Patrick Mahomes will come back in the second half and make things right for you guys. But back to the
I hope
Dolphins.
so.
And your question as far as do I still have the same sentiment? I'm going to go back into their schedule and we're going to take a look at some of their wins and some of their losses. So their losses came to the Bills and the Eagles
And the Chiefs.
and the Chiefs. Yeah, we got there. Yep. So their wins came up against division opponents like the Patriots, the Jets, the Chargers, who we know as frauds, who only was able to score a hefty 6 points, a hefty 6 points on that New England defense
And we'll get
today.
there. Yeah.
The Broncos, who were in a total different mindset at that point of the season, the Giants, the Panthers, the Raiders, and today the Commanders. Luckily for them, it gets sweeter. Next week, they go on the road. They stay home for Monday Night Football against the Tennessee Titans, who we just saw Michael Pittman have a great day against. And look at this, the New York Jets at home again. So they've played the Raiders. They've played the Jets Black Friday. Today, they play the Commanders. Monday night, they get the Titans. And then following Sunday, they get the Jets again. I mean, Christmas couldn't come any earlier if you're a Dolphins fan. After that, Noche Buena, as we say it in the Latino culture, Christmas Eve, as the Americans say it, Cowboys Dolphins in Miami. And that's where shit's going to get real because we got Cowboys Dolphins to finish the season, Ravens Dolphins on the road, and then back at home for the last game against the Bills. So live it up right now. Live it up right now. This is basically like when you go on winter break before your report card come out and you're enjoying the time
Yeah.
with your family, like that report card for to
Yeah.
come out. But you gonna act like everything's cool and you're gonna enjoy your time with your family for now, and we're gonna let the chips fall where they may. Now, I do sound like a Dolphins hater. I'm not. I'm obviously being a little funny here. I do think the Dolphins are a true playoff contending team. This team can win a Super Bowl, but they're going to have to show me they're just going to have to show me more to finish the
Yeah.
season off, because a loss to the Titans, a loss to the Titans, Jets is going to prove a lot. And then to me, they got to go 2 out of 3 in this Bills, Ravens, Cowboys, So
And you
they've
know me,
got
I
their
got a
work
friendly
cut out.
wager in the group chat that they're going to lose 2 out of those 3 games. So,
Ooh, okay. Well, I'll stay tuned for that then. But I think they have their work cut out for them. As far as what we saw today, you mentioned it, Tyreek Hill. He's just piling on to that MVP level season. He's at like 1,400 yards right now, on pace for 2,000 yards, something that nobody in the league has ever done. I think if he does get to that 2,000 mark, we have to look away from all the quarterbacks in the league and give this guy the MVP.
wow.
The Dolphins are doing what they're supposed to do, so I'm not going to discredit them for that. I can't say, you're beating up on bad teams, so who can no, they're getting wins, right? The Dolphins are 9-3. And again, like I said about the Eagles, any team in the AFC right now would love to be sitting at 9-3 atop of their division. So I'm going to give the credit. Tua is playing MVP level football. The Dolphins are able to win the games they're supposed to. But hey, guess what? I want to see them win the games that other teams might be supposed to win. The teams that make the Dolphins the underdog, win those games. And then we can really talk about Super Bowl contention because they lost to the back-to-back Super Bowl or the defending Super Bowl champs, I should say, Kansas City.
Does he crack the two bands? Does he crack 2,000 yards, you think?
I think he does. I mean, especially looking at the schedule, like I said, Titans and Jets. I mean, Jets have a great defense, but Tyreek Hill is still able to go off. And I just think looking at this, man, Tyreek Hill, who's going to stop him? We can't even look at the defenses too much and think too much of that. Who's going to stop Tyreek Hill? And as far as you saying Ron Rivera doesn't even know what coaching is anymore. I mean, they fired Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator, a few weeks ago, and I don't know who replaced him, but whoever did schemed up the Dolphins for the Commanders to go one-on-one against Tyreek Hill. I mean, there was no help, no double coverage, and this is what you get. So,
Oh my goodness. Listen, the Broncos, man, it looked like for a second they were going to pull it off today in Houston. And Russell Wilson found himself in a very, very, very familiar position. Goal line on the 8, ready to punch the ball in, win the game in these last seconds. And he throws an interception to seal the victory for Houston today. Not so fast. The Broncos 6-6. Texans continue to roll 7-5, and you just said C.J. Stroud, best quarterback in the universe. What did you see from him today that supports that argument right there?
well, it's just week in and week out. This guy, he shows so much poise. I mean, he only put up 275 today, 1 touchdown. He got sacked 5 times for loss of 28 yards, but it's the poise, it's the throws that he's able to make. The arm talent spits out of the TV, and like him hanging in the pocket and putting something on the money, right? He just, to me, I'd be pretty sure you'd agree, CJ Stroud looks like he's been in the NFL for 4 or 5 years. He doesn't look like a rookie that's playing in what is his 12th game. That's insane. What he's doing is insane. Like if Anthony Richardson was doing this, or my quarterback for my team as a rookie, I mean, I'd be screaming MVP. I'd be screaming, you know what I'm saying? Offensive Rookie of the Year, all types of things. So you just got to give a lot of credit to CJ Stroud. And I mean, Tank Dell going down, it's super unfortunate. You know, they lose their key weapon of the season, and we're going to see how they're able to replace and, kind of spread the love in other places. But Nico Collins, man, shout out to him. We talk about Tyreek Hill going off today. Nico Collins had 9 catches for 191 yards and a touchdown. And Patrick Surtain, he got hurt. I'm not sure if he did come back in or not, if he came back in the game or not, but he did get hurt, and that might have been what saved or what helped, Nico Collins on his way to 100, 190, almost $2. But at the end of the day, they were the better team. Like you said, Russell Wilson found himself in familiar situation. However, it was more of a rushed situation. They didn't have any timeouts. There was less than 30 seconds, and so they had to go. I still think he made a bad throw. Shouldn't have, you got to give your guy a better shot than that. And he's made a few bad throws. He had 3 interceptions today. So this is the Russell Wilson that, we were used to for the last year and a half. And I mean, I'm looking here like 186. He only threw the ball 26 times. So it's not like they're trying to, beat teams over the air.
But you can't win with 3 picks, and you can't win with 3 sacks that lose you 22 yards combined.
Nah, you can't, and especially against a team like Houston, how they're playing this year, lights out. Shout out to their young guys. I mean, they went and drafted this year Will Anderson. Last year they drafted Derek Stingley, and today they connected on a play where Anderson swatted the ball at the line, and Stingley got an interception. So it's just like we're seeing in real time what this Houston Texans rebuild is looking like. And again, unfortunate news with the Tank Dell injury. I hope that he's able to recover from that and come back strong next year. It's just the way it goes, bro.
And it had seemed like the turnover bug was plaguing every team that Denver had been playing in these past
Yep.
4 or 5 weeks. I think before today's game, they had, if I'm not mistaken, 15,
Plus,
turnovers,
plus 15, right?
plus
They're
15
leading the league
turnovers in like the last
turnover
4 or 5
differential.
games or something like that.
Yeah.
And I I mean, I couldn't help to wonder, like, that's not sustainable. It's amazing, credit to taking advantage of the moments you need to take advantage of, but it's just not sustainable. So what happens when that luck runs out? And it seemed like that, like I said, that turnover bug plagued them today to the tune of 3 picks from
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, including the game sealing one.
I think that's an interesting perspective. I personally wouldn't. I think the Broncos defense is solid as they come, and if you're able to force teams into turnovers to where you're at the week 12 point league leaders in turnovers forced, it's not necessarily luck at that point. I think you guys are getting, your jobs done on defense and executing and forcing teams into bad play. So there's some skill to getting turnovers as much as they do. I think that I agree with your point that it isn't sustainable when you have an offense like that, that doesn't rely on the pass game and doesn't want their quarterback to do necessarily too much to try to win them the game. And Russell Wilson has turned into like a game manager right before our eyes. So, yeah, I mean, hey, never is crazy, but it's going to be
Yeah.
very, very tough when you throw three interceptions. So, shout out to the Texans, man. They just keep winning and cruising. They're 7-5 right now, just like the Colts, bro. And who would have thought? That's the only thing I'll say about the Colts and the Texans teams this year is that who would have thought, even if they lose the rest of the games for the season, guys had the Colts and the Texans probably at the number 1 and the number 2 picks for the draft in 2024 with maybe 3, 2, 4 win seasons. And we've exceeded expectations by a long shot. So shout out to Houston. Shout out to Indianapolis for putting that work in.
Let's take a trip over to Los Angeles, where it seems like Brandon Low Hat Staley might have saved his job for just another week. 'Cause I don't think you can fire a coach after a win. Hey, you could, I guess, but I don't think that you actually can. The Patriots have done something that no other team has done since 1938, and it's lose 3 back-to-back-to-back games
Wow.
without scoring double digits.
Wow.
Hasn't been done since the 1938 season. Don't know what team it
Wow.
was, don't ask, didn't look into it that much, but I did see the stat. Did he save his job for another week? And do we see him somehow maybe retaining this position as the head coach of Los Angeles Chargers after beating the Patriots that are currently 2-10,
I
6
mean,
to 0,
yeah,
2 field goals. There were
number
no
number 2 overall pick in the draft as we speak. But my thing is, EP, I don't want to say that he saved his job. Like, to me, his job is safe. His job is safe. So,
until we see otherwise.
and it's like they're gonna say, like, weather played a big factor in why these guys couldn't get it going. By the way, I do want to break a little news here. Green Bay does have 3 sacks in the first half versus this Kansas City offensive line, and it's going to
I'm
force
gonna
them
get
to
to
kick
that in a
the field
second.
goal. So it's about to be 14-6 Kansas City over, Detroit. Man, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Green Bay.
Green Bay over Kansas City. I apologize. Now back to Los Angeles versus New England. Brandon Little Hat Staley's job is one of the safest jobs in America. They're gonna blame this on the weather. It was disgusting weather out there in Foxborough, but breaking news, I think it's been pretty nasty out across the country. You look at the Tampa Bay game. That game was disgusting weather, and they were able to put up 21 points. You look at the Cardinals Steelers game. They went on 2 long delays for the game, and Cardinals were able to put up 24 points. Right? I mean, the Dolphins and Commanders. It was nasty out there in Washington, D.C. And hey, Dolphins put up 45 points. So, with all that other shit, all that extra shit, I don't want to hear about it. The point of the matter is that this team has no offense. And the reason that they didn't let any touchdowns this week is because, Bailey Zappi. Like, let's be honest. What are we talking about here when we're talking about the Patriots and their offense, right? The Patriots want to lose, so let's get that straight. But Justin Herbert, 22 completions, 212 yards, no touchdowns, didn't get sacked once, only ran the ball as a team, Los Angeles, for 29 yards. How do you expect to win? And they did. But how do you expect to win with those numbers? You know how? If you're playing New England. And it's a similar game to the New England-Germany game versus the Colts, where it was like a 10-6 final. But, this is a Chargers offense. This is not Gardner Minshew, right? This is Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, Austin Eckler. Like, what are we talking about? So I really don't want to continue on this game. It doesn't deserve to be talked about. It's a 6-0 final. We don't even see that in football anymore. Iowa scores more than 6 points.
Oh my goodness. Hey, shout out to the chat right now. Jay in there saying what's up, ATS on top. Cardi's in there.
Appreciate y'all, man.
He's the
I love y'all.
homie Patriots fan. He said, Cardi says not too much on my guys.
Shut up. Listen, Cardi, and Cardi, I appreciate you. You know that, bro. You know I love and appreciate you, but please take that shit to the Patriots podcast, because at this point you need to start rooting against the Patriots. And I understand that if you're happy where you're at because draft implications, right? Colts were this bad last year. It was embarrassing. And hey, we drafted Anthony Richardson, but no. And Cardi, before I finish on the Patriots, comment below, please. Do you want Bill Belichick to return next year as a Patriots head coach? That's all I need to know.
I still stand on him. He can be a head coach next year, but just can't be their GM because he's making horrible football operation draft picks and decisions. But I digress. I want to keep it at Cardi's comments in the chat. As Green Bay scored their last touchdown, he asked me if I was nervous. And I'm going to bring up this game cast right now.
Is he talking about the Chiefs? Is he talking about the Chiefs when he's a Patriot? Okay.
If I'm honest about this, and like we mentioned last week, Monday, or I mentioned anyway, the Chiefs' inefficiencies and deficiencies as far as the offense is concerned. The way that we've gone scoreless for 30 minutes at a time is obviously concerning. Pacheco has 54 yards right now. Kelsey has 33 yards right now with 2 receptions. Patrick Mahomes been sacked, you said 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, in the first half. Nervous? For sure. I would say at this point, because I said it last week, it's starting to look very not good. And I know it's horrible vocabulary, but this is horrible offense accompanied by horrible vocabulary at this point. It's not sustainable. Again, you said it yourself. Everyone was high on the Chiefs. Chiefs covered today. And you know me, I stay away from betting Chiefs games first off and foremost. But I've said it before. I said it when I was in Italy, when we played, who was it, Jacksonville, when Chris Jones came back for the first time. I said, hey, look, they'll win, but they're probably not going to cover. The Chiefs don't cover. They do what they got to do to get the dub and keep it moving. I reference all the time the Super Bowl run in 2020 season. It was a bunch of comeback wins. All playoffs was a bunch of comeback wins.
Yeah.
And the Super Bowl was another comeback win.
Yeah.
But we just haven't shown that tenacity this season to show that we can lock in when we need to lock in, and we can score when we need to score. So that was a long-winded answer to a yes. I am a bit nervous. June, should Chiefs fans be nervous right now with how this season and how these games are looking?
No, I'm not gonna lie. Listen, if Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, I don't know that nervous is a word that you necessarily have to use in the playoffs. Of course, it's so much more at stake and on the line, and one little miscue can ruin the season. But we're still in the regular season again. A lot of AFC teams wish they could be sitting where the Chiefs are at 8-3 atop the AFC West. Let's not get too carried away. The way you guys have gotten there hasn't been the prettiest. It's been a lot of learning curve. It's been a lot of new chemistry being built. But this is what the Chiefs do. And throughout the season, from say late October into early December, this is where they're brewing, and getting ready and geared up for the playoffs. So Patrick Mahomes is going to be Mahomes. You guys still have Travis Kelce on that offense. I mean, you can't be too nervous, if at all, about what you have right in front of you. We're talking about a one possession game, right, in the first half. So versus a Green Bay team who isn't guaranteed anything. I think the Chiefs are just fine.
I wish I shared that sentiment. I really wish I did.
I mean, I
But
get it. You're a fan,
that's
though.
probably
You
the
know what I'm
fan in
saying?
me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're a
Exactly.
fan.
Exactly. Absolutely. There's a lot of other things that we could get into, but as you all know, Sundays are the football, and sometimes on occasions football episodes. June, you got anything else you want to get into before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I do want to just point out the fact that the Detroit Lions are 9-3 right now, and they are the number. I think they're the number 2 team. They're probably the number 3 team after that win with the 49ers. But Detroit, man, we just gotta the thing about Detroit is that we've never seen this in our life. We've never seen this. Like, we weren't around for the Barry Sanders era, and I don't even know what the record on the teams that Barry Sanders played was. I'm sure it wasn't nothing amazing. Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson is what we know about Detroit. 0-16 is what we know about Detroit. Up until 2 years ago, this Detroit team was not competing for an NFC North division championship. Dan Campbell hire, trade for Jared Goff, couple draft picks, one of the best teams to beat in the NFC. And so, you asked me earlier if the 49ers are the team to beat in the NFC, and I do agree, and I still agree. I think the Eagles are the close second right there, but it might be 1A, 1B, 1C. I mean, these 3 teams right here atop the NFC are some of the best teams in the NFL. And to the point where I think I would say the Eagles, the 49ers, and the Lions are better than the Dolphins. And that's, again, Dolphins fans might hate me for that, but we've seen them put the work in. We've seen them with the pedigree and be able to beat good teams and do it consistently. So that's just where I'm at with it right now. I got those 3 teams in the power rankings, and I'll probably sprinkle in Baltimore and Miami in there. So then again, Cowboys got something to say about that too. So Monday, tomorrow, we will talk about the power rankings. We will talk about the college football playoff. We wanted to let NFL breathe. There was a lot of backlash that college football playoff got and the committee got for picking the 4 that they picked. Y'all know the 4. We'll talk about them tomorrow. I guess that signs us out, EP, if you want to get us out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out couple shout outs and reverse shout outs. One, did it last week, do it again this week. That boy HD put up a hell of a fight in Salt Lake City. Didn't turn out as we all wanted it to, but hey man, I sent him a private message, showed him a bunch of love, told him, the city's proud of you. You keep doing what you're doing. No reason to hang your head on this one, you know what I mean? New Orleans Saints booing Derek Carr, very funny. That's my reverse shout out for the night. Very funny, very funny, very funny. Booing your own quarterback at the crib is jokes, man. You're sick to my stomach.
Sick to my stomach, fam.
Pure jokes, pure jokes, pure jokes. But yeah, those were my 2 little shout out and reverse shout outs for the evening.
Big shout out to HD though, man. Howard Davis out of Broward County, Florida, bare knuckle fighting championship. He had a big fight this weekend in Salt Lake City, just to kind of piggyback off what you said, And hey, look, we don't always it don't always work out the way we expect it to. But the thing about champions is that they don't stop, they don't quit, they don't let this, alter their perception on how they can get. Listen,
1000%.
HD is already past this, I'm sure. And I know how mentally strong he is. That man has a family. He's more than just a fighter. He's a father, friend, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. So he'll get back to doing that until his next fight. And I'm sure that he'll be more than prepared for his next fight. I do want to point out the fact that a lot of backlash came out of that fight after the fight, and people were very critical about the fighting style in which his opponent chose to use. And it's kind of like a, like embarrassment to the sport. It kind of like shames what fighting
All that.
is.
Yep.
And listen, a loss is a loss. And HD, he's not asking me to say this. He wouldn't say this himself. You know what I'm saying? He'll take the loss like a champion, like he is. But we're in sports media, right? And we talk about shit. So when you go on social media and the first things that people are saying isn't like, oh, he could have did, they're literally bashing the fighting style of the guy who won.
Kai Stewart.
It has to speak for something. So like I said, bro, shout out to HD, bro. We're super proud of you. ATS fam, you already know that. And until we catch up, bro.
1000%. 1000%. That was this week's Sunday night Real in Sports.